The Furry War, also referred to as the Volpyrium-Eldham Alliance War and the Great Serronan War, was a major conflict in Serrona, dating from August the 11th, 2022 to September 24th, 2022. The conflict saw the nations of the Eldham Alliance engage in a war with the Volpyrium over the Duchy of Mansland. Officially, the cause of the war was a Volpyrium-sponsored raid and border skirmish with the United Socialist States of Eldham. However, it is widely believed that the true roots of the conflict date back months prior, with many nations seeking a chance to strike at one of their ancient foes. The war became one of the largest wars in the world of Eldham, involving the majority of nations in Eldham on both sides. It was one of the costliest wars in the history of Eldham, with both sides spending tens of millions on mercenaries and equipment, with hundreds dying in the war. Prior to the formation of the Eldham Alliance, the member states which would go on to form it were known to have had serious gripes with the Volpyrium. Skalding had a major dispute with the Volpyrium over Eternia, in which Skalding accused the Volpyrium of violating their mutual defense agreement. The United Socialist States of Eldham had cut ties with the Volpyrium at the same time as Skalding, after the Volpyrium annexation of Mansland, a former territory of the USSE. Furthermore, the USSE accused the Volpyrium of sponsoring terrorists inside their country and threatening war with them over Mansland despite a mutual defense agreement. Perceptions of the Volpyrium were split among the broader world of Eldham, with other states like Anglunia and the Pale viewing them as champions of weaker nations and a reliable and consistent ally. Out of nowhere, the Volpyrium backed a raid on the USSE town of Sanguinople. The subsequent attack shocked many, as Sanguinople was the last city in the USSE that retained ties with Mansland and the Volpyrium. The Volpyrium further enraged the USSE through the theft of a netherite Shashka from resident Ducalius Cerebra. Leth of Laria knew that this would mean war and began building a large border wall along the southern Volpyrium. When the Eldham Alliance formed, it was officially announced as a solution to the confusing alliance systems and a guarantor of political stability in Eldham. It was revealed that through Ryuna that the true purpose of the Eldham Alliance was an anti-Volpyrium coalition. Then, Imperius Aurelian, the leader of the alliance, issued a 24-hour ultimatum to the Volpyrium, demanding the payment of 15 million coins for the violation of treaties and transgressions. Negotiations failed and the Volpyrium declined to pay the demanded reparations, resulting in the Eldham Alliance declaring war on the Volpyrium. Immediately following the declaration of war, the Mansland city of St. Nielsburg was transferred by its prior owner to Leth of Laria, the General Secretary of the USSE. The city would be renamed as Nielsenbien and incorporated into the USSE, serving as the war base for the Eldham Alliance in the Battle of Manzig. Both cities underwent major fortifications during this time, becoming practically unrecognizable from the cities which they were before. Entire structures were torn down to make room for the ganks and fall pits present through the cities. It was finally time for the first Battle of Manzig to begin. Within the first minutes of the battle, the Alliance forces began bombing the outside of the Manzig moat on the south, as it was right next to the ocean. The gigantic moat alongside the south had been completely neutralized by the Alliance, allowing them to safely breach into the city. From there, Alliance forces moved to secure the walls and hold the center of the city. They were met with fierce resistance from the Volpyrium, and a large protracted battle along the walls of Manzig ensued. At various points, both sides would be repelled until the battle finally ended. While the Volpyrium endured heavier losses, the Eldham Alliance failed to secure the city. Next came the second Battle of Manzig. This battle was much smaller than the first, with many of the Eldham Alliance forces being deployed in the Morledron Sylvania War and the Novareach War. The Eldham Alliance did not attack during the first 40 minutes of the battle, under instruction from commanders to only hold and defend Nielsenbjörn. AGR 3SSION used Crimson Wine and Slow Falling to get across the moat and onto the walls, where he used TNT to create a breach for the attackers to enter. Upon entering the city, the Alliance was greeted by dozens of Volpyrium soldiers who utilized the city's multiple ganks and fall pits to send the attackers to their deaths. The assault failed, with the Volpyrium securing a win over the Eldham Alliance, inducing heavy losses. Finally came the third Battle of Manzig. For this battle, the Eldham Alliance rallied a large force to lay siege on Manzig once more. This time, the defenses of Manzig had become far more secure, and breaching became much harder. The Eldham Alliance used a sky bridge to breach and engage with the defenders after dropping into the city. Alliance forces continually engaged in battles from the walls, picking off as many Volpyrium defenders as possible, decisively shifting the battle in their favor by securing a siege point. Following the successful siege of Manzig, the royal court of the Volpyrium began infighting over whether to continue the war or not. Shib was the most vocal in favor of peace, secretly negotiating a withdrawal of Alliance forces in exchange for her withdrawing financial support of the Volpyrian forces. Lacking the major financial support of Shib, the Volpyrian was unable to hire any mercenaries for the planned Fourth Battle of Manzig. As the Fourth Battle approached, the voices in the Volpyrian advocating for peace became stronger, forcing the government to officially enter negotiations with the Eltham Alliance. Debates raged all the way until the final hour before the Fourth Battle, with both sides being notified to prepare for war in case of talks failing. After fierce negotiations, a peace treaty was signed and the war ended before another battle could take place. The Volpyrian agreed to cede the Duchy of Mansland to the USSC. The Ahalian territories annexed after the Atlechian-Volpyrian War were returned to Skalding. 2 million coins and 75 sets were paid as reparations to Shirkaniza, and Dacalius Cerebrus Netherite Shashka was returned to the USSC. The Volpyrian also agreed to pay 150,000 coins for the border wall with the USSC. The end of the war positioned the Eltham Alliance as the most dominant military power in Eltham. The Morladron-Sylvanian War concluded shortly after, further solidifying this image. The war saw Beastly Brock, Unusual Sheba, and KK-5288 removed from the government of the Volpyrian and replaced by Zakmak and Regulus of Notos, who sought to make amends with the Eltham Alliance. With KK's departure, Nova Scoria became an independent republic once again. Commander General Aaron X4B was made a hero of the Volpyrian for making his outstanding contributions to the war effort. Thanks for watching and please subscribe. It's free and it really helps out the channel. Thank you. Peace out and goodbye.